ready for the show. Howdy folks, welcome to the December holiday edition of the 10 by 10 Variety Night, brought to you by the Main Theater in Old Town Newhall, California. Still coming at you the first Thursday of every month, and in these times of social distancing, still virtual. I'm Squeezebox Sam, one member of the musical making outfit Grit, and we've been the 10 by 10 Variety Night house band for the 2020 season. We thank you for having us out. Ordinarily, we'd manifest as a quartet about this time and make some music to welcome you to the show, but there have been some holiday crunches, which has left me here by my lonesome to take care of it for you. So I'm going to do a solo rendition of our original tune called The Holidays Are Gonna Be Different This Year Blues. If there's one thing we can count on, is the holidays are going to be different this year. But that don't mean we got to get down about it. It goes a little like this. Pulled the biggest Christmas heist we'd ever seen. That was before we met Mr. COVID-19. Well, the holidays are different, yeah, the holidays gonna be different this year. Oh, so different, them holidays are different, but don't let the difference go and spoil your holiday cheer. So collect your gelt and with your drill play, just make sure you're doing it from 6 feet away. Yeah, them holidays are different, oh so different this year. Well, them holidays are different, yeah, oh so different. Just don't let the difference go and spoil your holiday cheer. Looks like our Kwanzaa gonna be socially constricted. Just don't let our Ujima go and get restricted. Yeah, them holidays are different. The holidays are different this year. But them holidays are different. Yeah, oh so different. Don't let the different get in the way of your holiday cheer. Mr. Santa Claus don't mean to put you to task, but if you come down our chimney, you better wear yourself a mask. Yeah, them holidays are different, them holidays are different this year. So you can light your candles and you can drink your eggnog, and don't let your different get in the way of your holiday cheer. So light your candles, leave Santa some milk and cookies, and don't let the different go and spoil your holiday cheer. Ho, ho, ho. All right, much obliged. Grit and I will try to work up a whole band edition of that for you sometime before the holidays hit full force, so be on the lookout for it. Looks like we got some time for some Squeezebox trivia, and got me to thinking about who would ever outlaw Christmas, since that is the holiday season that's coming up for some of us. And turns out that, as much as you would think that was some Rankin Bass animated feature theme, it actually happened here in the colonies in 1659. Massachusetts Bay Colony made it a finable offense to celebrate Christmas. Seems that them Puritans felt that all that Christmas nonsense was just another pagan holiday that had been absorbed into Christianity. And well, they were right, but that's a different trivia. So welcome to the 10 by 10 Variety Night Holiday Edition. get ready for the first act.
When I became a mom several years ago, I dreamed of the day my children would be old enough to enter elementary school and I could fulfill a lifelong dream, becoming a room parent. There was something about wanting to help out in the classroom, chaperone field trips, plan parties that just excited me to no end. A few years ago, that opportunity came. And let's just say, be careful about what you ask for. It was the 2016-17 school year. My youngest had just entered kindergarten. I attended back to school night. They solicited for a room parent and I proudly signed up. But I was surprised there wasn't a whole lot to do. They didn't really need my help in the classroom. And in terms of all of the fall holidays that take place, they didn't really need me either. When Halloween came around, they did a simple craft. When Thanksgiving came around, they did a Thanksgiving feast with all the other kindergarten classes, but the teachers took care of that. But then came Christmas, and the teacher reached out to me and asked if I could help with a holiday party. And I said, sure, what did you have in mind? And she goes, I really want to keep it simple. I'm just going to show a movie in the classroom, have a sing-along, and if you could bring in a holiday cookie, that would be perfect and help me in the classroom. And I thought, absolutely, how hard could this be? Now, if I had just hung up the phone and gone straight to the grocery store, dropped $20 and purchased 3 dozen iced holiday cookies, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now on video. But alas, no. I am the world's biggest perfectionist, type A to a T, and I decided that I needed to make a homemade holiday cookie. So I grab a bottle of wine one night and plop down in front of my computer, pull up Pinterest. 2.5 hours later, and nearly the entire bottle of wine, I have scrolled through no less than about 3,000 pins of holiday cookies. I am completely overwhelmed. Who knew that there were that many options in this world? And I felt my blood pressure starting to rise, and that little voice of reason, that one that we hardly ever listen to, came in and she said, how about we just go simple? Just do a basic cutout and one color of icing. But then that ego side of me took over and said, no, come on, I really wanted to do a Christmas cottage cookie with brown icing for the gutter and green icing for the wreath and blah, 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 just pure madness. The little voice piped in again and she said, you have never made a homemade sugar cookie in your life. Go simple. So I acquiesced, or so I thought. So I settled on a simple stocking. Thought, how hard could this be? Gathered all the ingredients for the dough, floured my kitchen counter and threw the dough out and started with my rolling pin rolling it out. Now, it's funny, the picture on Pinterest shows this perfect rectangle of dough. Yeah, see, mine didn't look like that. Mine looked more like if Georgia, Alabama, and Florida all merged together to make one state. Furthermore, one side of the dough was about 1/2 inch thick, the other side you could see through, so there was no consistency whatsoever. And the more I tried to roll with the rolling pin, the more the dough just stuck to it. It was just a nightmare. Finally, I get all of the dough off the rolling pin, I get it all spread out into a decent, workable space, take my stocking cookie cutter, and I made 30 cutouts. So I reach for my spatula because now I need to transfer these to the cookie sheets. And as I go to do it, little do I know that the longer that dough sits out, it heats up and can easily break apart. So with each cookie that I tried with the spatula, trying to slide underneath, it just broke in half. So I had to mold together 30 stockings into 2 pieces, into one on each cookie sheet. Finally, I pushed them back together. I had 30 semi-decent ones, just put them in the oven. I need to be done with this. So now it's time to turn to icing. Now, again, why didn't I just go to the grocery store and buy a can of Pillsbury? No, have to make the icing from scratch. So I gather the milk and the powdered sugar and the butter and all of that and start adding it, add in the pink food coloring, and I start mixing it up going, this doesn't look quite right. This kind of looks like a milkshake. And then rather than go to the internet and find out how do you thicken up icing, get the really complete instructions, no, I just start haphazardly adding more ingredients until now I'm looking at pink Elmer's glue. I'm like, well, this will never do. Furthermore, I tasted it, awful, throw it out. I remade this icing 3 times until I finally had it in some decent enough shape that was workable and, more importantly, edible. Dang, the oven goes off. Go into the kitchen, pull down the oven door, and my mouth drops. My semi-decent 30 stockings have all spread during baking and have merged together to form 30 beige-looking kidneys, for lack of a better word. And I thought to myself, what am I going to do? I've got 2 hours until this party because, yet again, could I make these cookies the night before and gave myself time? No, they had to be fresh. So I take these cookies out, I put them on the wire rack and perform surgery to try to somewhat mold them to look like a stocking, but it completely failed. I get the icing into the piping bag. And by this point, my nerves are so shot that as I'm trying to ice this cookie, my hands are just shaking. It looks like a palsy patient attempted to ice these cookies. I take a step back, I look at them. They are pathetic. I mean, it is awful. There is no sense of holiday whatsoever. But I look at the clock. It's 20 minutes until the party. No time, gotta go. So I race to the school, I get into the classroom, and I get set up. And the teacher was just finishing the sing-along, and she said, boys and girls, Lauren's mom is here, and she has got a holiday treat for you. So why don't you go on and line up, and you can grab one yourself. And so one by one, they start gathering, and their faces are just on fire. They're so excited. And as they approach me and see the kidneys that are lying in front of them, their faces just start to deflate a little bit. But they gingerly grab one and walk off. And about 6 or 7 of them did this until finally one of them broke and screamed, "What are these?" And under my breath, I said, They're stockings, sweetie. He goes, "What?" I said, "They're stockings, sweetie." And that did it. Unleash the Kraken, one by one. Aren't stockings supposed to look like socks? Mine looks like a blob. Mine looks like it has blood on it. And one by one, it just kept going and going. I wanted to crawl into a ball and die. But here's the great thing about kids. They don't care. They griped for about 30 seconds and then they gobbled them down, crumbs and all. And I even have to give props to that kindergarten teacher. She was one of these that was the perfect kinder teacher, just completely put together. She ate that cookie and never said 2 words. God bless her. So the bell rang and the kids left and the teacher and I began cleaning up. And she looks at me and she goes, "Thank you so much for helping out with this party. It meant the world to me." And I wanted to go, "You're lying. You're so lying." But I gratefully just accepted the compliment. I said, "Oh, you're welcome." She goes, "When we come back from winter break, I would love to get an early start on Valentine's Day if you don't mind." And I took a breath and I said gingerly, "Sure. How do you feel about store-bought treats?" Thank you so much. I'm Brooke Baumer, and happy holidays to all of you.
How I wish again I was back in Michigan to spend an old-fashioned Christmas with my kid. How I wish again I was back in Michigan, but I'll spend Christmas by myself again. I can go back home again to spend an old-fashioned Christmas once again. How I wish again I was back in Michigan, but I'll spend Christmas by myself again. 20 years ago, I was born there, you know, when I was just just a kid. Now I'm here again, wishing I was there again, back in Michigan. 20 years ago, I was born there, you know, when I was just a kid. Now I'm here again, wishing I was there again, back in Michigan. Now I'm here again, wishing I was there again, back in Michigan.
Yep, Michigan. Used to go ice skating in the pond behind our home, and the fire department would fill it with water. This area every year, they'd fill the field, and my sister and I would go out there with our ice skates, and we'd skate until it got dark, and then my mom would have towels in the dryer. She would keep we'd come in the door, and she'd have like hot chocolate waiting for us and warm towels. And it was so cold out, but it was just so nice and cozy back inside the house. So growing up in Michigan when I was little, we had something called the Sears Roebuck catalog. And this catalog was just, oh my gosh, I loved it. It had everything you would want for Christmas in this catalog, from, you know, bicycles to dolls and games and just anything you would ever want. And my sisters and I would steal it back and forth from one another. We all just loved this catalog. But the thing is that as you get older, you kind of realize that you don't really need or want all that much. That list gets smaller, you know. And so that's what this song is about. I wrote it about 4 years ago for my husband, and it's called I Need You.
I don't need a new car, I don't need to be a big star, I don't need another party dress, and I don't need more success. I don't need my very own drone, and I don't need the latest iPhone. I don't need a diamond ring, I don't need much of anything, but I need you, and I hope that you need me too. I need you, and I need your love too. I need you. I don't need pink champagne, and I don't need fortune and fame. I don't need a flat screen TV, and I don't need to be set free. I don't need a big black cat, and I don't need another tat. No, I don't need that bling, I don't need much of anything, but I need you, and I hope that you need me too. I need you, and I need your love too. I just do. Shoes or a great big bottle of booze, and I don't need the latest app or another baseball cap. I don't need a tractor or a truck or a penny for good luck. No, I don't need to be a star, but I do need this here guitar. I really do, and I need you. Do. I need you. I need you.
So this next song is called Silent Night, and you've probably heard of this song, but did you know that Silent Night was written in 1816 by a young priest? His name was Joseph Moore. He lived in a small village called Obendorf. It was in Austria. And he had written the lyrics, but had no music to go along with it. So a few years later, in 1818, a friend of his, who was a schoolmaster in a nearby village, his name was Franz Gruber, wrote the music to go along with the song. But the organ from the church had been destroyed in a flood, so his friend Franz wrote the music on a guitar. So there you have it.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glorious stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing hallelujah, Christ the Savior is born, Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
Thanks for spending a little time with me. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, David, for making me self-conscious about my shoes. Thank you, Valley Performing Arts Center, for having David here. Thank you, whoever invented the slimming lectern. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of my target demographic. We are the only Jews in Schuylerville, New York. Everyone in Schuylerville knows we are the only Jews. So there is considerable confusion surrounding the great, well-decorated Christmas tree in our large, uncurtained living room. We are not very good Jews. After a childhood of envy toward her friends with their big decorated trees and their wrapped presents, my mother has decided she is a grown-ass woman and can celebrate the holiday however she damn well pleases. So every year we pick out a tree, we set it up in the living room. My mother decorates it, my sister and I are in charge of tinsel. And every year she screams at me, "Strands, not clumps!" Presents wait under it for the 25th. My father is an atheist, but he believes in history and tradition. So he pulls the menorah out of the closet, and for 8 nights we turn our backs on my mother's secular celebration tree. and we go through baffling rituals. We don't always know what day Hanukkah starts, so we wind up burning extra candles to make lost time. He doesn't know the Hebrew. So as he lights the candles, he solemnly intones abracadabra, alakazam. We light the candles, we don't eat ham. By the 8th night, it becomes absurd. We will not eat it in a boat. We will not eat it with a goat. We will not eat the Gentiles' ham. We will not eat it l'chaim. This year he has found a pamphlet. On one side it has the Hebrew, on the other side it has the phonetic spellings in English. So we mouth incomprehensible words. Baruch atah Adonai, I have a clue what I am saying. My sister and I ask him for an explanation of the holiday, and first he goes the traditional self-loathing anti-Semitic route. He says, we still celebrate because 5,000 years ago, one of us got a good deal on some lamp oil. And then he winces and shrugs as though he is forgiving himself for some minor slight committed against a college roommate whose nickname is remembered, but whose true name is melted into memory. And he tries to explain the holiday. It is utterly baffling. There are Maccabees who are inexplicably not Scottish. There are refugees from some war in the Middle East who hide in a cave, and outside darkness falls, and inside the white light burns, and it's all about oil, how much there is, how long it will last. My sister is 13. She has a keenly refined sense of hypocrisy. She has figured out that religion has been at the root of many wars over the millennia. So any nod to any religion is an indication that my parents are not as committed to the peace movement as they would have everyone believe. She has figured out that Judeo-Christian traditions are steeped in patriarchal history and wrongs, so any nod to either of those traditions is an indication that my parents are not as committed to equal rights and feminism as they would have everyone believe. She has figured out that the gift-giving season is part of a corporate consumerist construct, so any exchange of presents is an indication that my parents are not as committed to global workers' rights as they would have everyone believe. I am 11. I like presents. I like days off from school, reading comic books in my pajamas for so long that the elasticized ankles leave rib marks in my pale winter flesh. Dustin Hoffdog, the great matted sheepdog mutt of my youth, believes that we are the best, most wonderful family that has ever lived, and that any food left outside the refrigerator is there for him. He is having a very happy, very gassy holiday season. The true miracle of the season lies in the fact that our house does not explode. This year there is an energy crisis. Words like OPEC and embargo on the news, words as meaningless to me as if they were in Hebrew. It's all about oil, how much there is, how long it will last. My father has bought an old pot-bellied stove at a local antiques market. He has had a handyman set it up in our living room, running stovepipe up to a hole in the chimney. He says it will save on the heating bill, and he is correct. Because when the stove is lit, it heats an area around itself 7 feet in diameter. an area that encompasses the thermostat. When the stove is lit, the furnace shuts down. Every year, he has brought out the record of Dylan Thomas, my namesake, reading his poem, A Child's Christmas in Wales. And every year I have been told to sit and listen to it, which I do for 2 or 3 minutes before growing bored and wandering away. This year he hasn't brought out the record. Perhaps he's gotten tired of a tradition that always leaves him disappointed. Perhaps he's just forgotten. I go to the shelf, I find the record and pull it out. I slide the vinyl from the cardboard sleeve. Perhaps I've inherited his love of tradition. Perhaps I'm seeking parental approval. I put it on the turntable. I drop the needle. And the dead Welshman tells his childhood tales of snowballs thrown and melted long ago. I lie on the floor. I rest my head on dusty, knees pointed toward the ceiling, small feet chilling flat on hardwood. The dog cranes around to snuffle me, petting me in his way. His breath smells of stolen latkes. And I listen to the salt-swept, sea-stained voice of the drunken Welshman. He speaks of candied cigarettes that unwrap to prove chocolate against his tongue. And I've had candied cigarettes, and they were always made of stiff bubble gum. So I think he's gotten it wrong, because I'm 11, and I know everything. But I don't. I don't know that as I listen, I am learning to love words and sentences and cadence. I don't know that I am learning to listen and learning to write. I don't know that I am freezing my own snow globe memories against future use. Outside, the white snow falls. Inside, the black disk turns. And here, in this cold and godless house, these are holy days. Thank you.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure, fa la 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 la. While I tell of Yuletide treasure, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. Fast away the old year passes, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. Hail the new ye lads and lasses, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. Sing we joyous all together, fa la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la, la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la, la la la. Yeah, boy, there's an old one, huh? I don't know how old that one is. But we used to sing that. I'm going back 60 years now to Brighton, the neighborhood I grew up in Baltimore, when my brothers and sisters and I and our cousins and friends and whoever came along, we'd go door to door. Yep, we would knock on the doors and sing Christmas carols for the neighbors. And there's a line in that song that I never really got till later in life when I started to be curious about what the lyrics, some of those old-fashioned lyrics actually meant. But heedless of the wind and weather. And that's what we used to do. That's right. Sometimes it was so cold your eyes would tear up and, you know, you get a little frost in your nose or whatever. And so now I know what heedless of the wind and weather means. Got another old one here. This is from the middle of the 19th century. And it turns out that it's actually kind of a country song. And if you replace sleigh with pickup truck and you know, imagine a cup of mulled cider and swap that out for just like a cold one, and you get Jingle Bells. So I'm going to sing it like a country song. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Now the ground is white and the night is young. Take the sleigh tonight and join us in this song. Just get a bobtail gray, get ready for a run, hitch him to a sleigh, and now we'll have some fun. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Yeehaw! Well, there's another one we used to sing back in the day that was also so pretty. And I always loved singing the pretty ones too, you know, so many pretty Christmas carols. So, and this one here is called The First Noel. The first Noel, the angels did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. They looked up and saw a star shining in the east, beyond them far, and to the earth it gave great light, and so it continued both day and night. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. Noel, 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 So yeah, and then we would finish all the time with the one that you finish with all the time, which is one that everybody kind of knows, everybody can sing. And I want to say thank you to my wonderful honey, Kathy, who's been throwing in on percussion with me for this set. Kathy, have a Merry Christmas yourself. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, just happiness all around. And thank you for the opportunity to play for the city of Santa Clarita. I sure appreciate that. Thank you, Jeff Barber, for the invite. And we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us some figgy pudding. Bring us some figgy pudding. Now bring us some figgy pudding. And bring some right here. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring some right here. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Hey, Jimmy, I told you no microphone stand. It makes me look fat. Ay, 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 ay. You will never get good help these days for a dreidel in need. Hi, everyone. Shalom. Shalom. I'm Shemazel the dreidel. It's good to be here tonight. You know, I got arrested in Vegas last year. Me and Jimmy, yes, the same Jimmy, we're playing craps down at Caesar's Palace. I was losing so much. I really do not do well at gambling. I kept putting money in, but getting nothing out. So after a few spins, I ended up in front of M&M World. There was a bunch of little kids there. They started to spin me, trying to win all the candy. They're better at gambling than I am. All of a sudden, the cops came around the corner. Well, the kids saw them and they booked it. And I fell and I landed on my head. I got lucky though. The judge let me free as long as I played with some of his grandkids. You know, holiday cards are great. They're a great way to say I love you, I appreciate you, especially this year. Especially this year. Except, not for me. No, nay. So, I was gonna send 50 Hanukkah cards this year. That's right, 50. 50. So I go to the post office, and there's this lovely lady behind the counter. Oh my Lord. She was a lovely lady. She would make my mom very happy. So, I get to the front of the counter, I look at her and I say, "Hi, can I get 50 stamps for my Hanukkah cards? And your number." I'm just kidding, I didn't ask her that. But what if I did though? Eh? So, she looks at me and she says, "What denomination?" What denomination? What denomination? What denomination are you getting me, Ivy? What has this world come to? I didn't know what to say. I was stuck. So I looked at her, and I answered as best as I could. 20 Orthodox, 10 Conservative, 10 Reformed, 10 Hasidic. I have never been more red. And I don't mean R-E-A-D. So I used to be on Broadway. That's right. But I don't mean Fiddler on the Roof or Yenta the Musical. Thank you very much. No, I wrote my own Hanukkah musical. That's right, Hanukkah musical. With some amazing songs, and I had all the dances and everything. Can I show you a little? I can? Great. It all takes place in a diner, right in front of Moe's Deli. So, opening number, here comes the cast. They're all in Moe's, and they leave as a big group. And they come outside to the wonderful air, and they sing together, "Deck the halls with boughs of matzah, choo 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 choo. Deck the halls with boughs of matzah, choo 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 choo." It's a great, great number. Well, all of a sudden, here comes the antagonist of the show. That's right, the antagonist. And he walks out singing a good song. I'm gonna be a matzo man. Oh yeah, matzo man. I wanna be. Oh yeah. That's about the Lower East Side Village people. It makes sense in the show. Now, then the sad thing happens in the show. The poor grandmother dies. So everyone's at a funeral, and they sing a wonderful song. Bubby Yenti got hit by a reindeer, coming home from the deli Shabbos night. I'm still waiting on my pastrami, with my nice deli mustard on the side. Our audience loved it. Our audience of 10 people cried every time Grandma died. Now, my favorite song of the piece, the song that is really written for me, goes like this. It's sung by Little Shlomo. Silent nights, silent nights, silent nights, silent nights. Oh, I should be so lucky. And so we had one review who said his favorite line in the whole show was from our grandpa. Don't look into the rest of the review. That's the only important part. So the grandpa comes out and he says, "Enough with the Fanika jingle bells already. Sheesh!" Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we got a standing ovation. It was just me and my producers, but we stood for them. They were great. Wonderful performances. Now, it's time for some kid jokes. So, this is for little Shlomo in the 3rd row and little Billy in the 5th, okay? You listening? You listening? You can tell these ones at home to your parents. These are the only jokes you can repeat. Thank you very much. All right. What do you call a speck in a latke pan? An unidentified flying object. Why don't we eat clowns at Hanukkah? Because they taste funny. What did the menorah say to the candles when they got too hot? Ah! A talking menorah! Thank you. That's it for the kid jokes. All right, don't repeat anymore, all right? Good. So every year, my mom gives me a Hanukkah sweater. It's really difficult because I'm such a big dreidel, but she does it every year. Thanks, Mom. I really love you, and I really mean it. One year, she gave me 2 Hanukkah sweaters. That's right, 2. Now, between you and me, I hope my mom isn't watching, I would never be caught dead in them. Not even at a Hanukkah party. So, I wear one to visit her the next time I see her. Now, when I show up, before I even say hello, shalom, hi, I love you, what does she say to me? What, you didn't like the other one? Let's just say she only makes me one Hanukkah sweater a year from now on. Now, some people say I'm really good at impressions. I think so too. So I'm going to do some impressions of some great Jewish people. So the first one I'm going to do is Senator Bernie Sanders. Let me be clear. The dreidel is spinning. The millionaires and billionaires are winning. And it's 8 nights. Daniel Radcliffe. Oh, I'm Harry Potter. Expecto Menorah. Marilyn Monroe. Happy Hanukkah to you. Happy Hanukkah to you. Happy Hanukkah, Mr. President. Oh, Mel Brooks. It's good to be the drink. Now, when I get asked for impressions, I always get asked for Adam Sandler. Every single time it's Adam Sandler this, and I appreciate everything he's done for the Jewish community. I really have, because he wrote a great song about me. But I'm really not good at Adam Sandler. Even in his most famous movie, Waterboy, I'm just not a good drinker. But he has a wonderful song, doesn't he? It goes, "Dime for Hanukkah, put on your yarmulkes." Oh, it's so good. Thank you, everybody. That's the end of my set. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Goodbye, shalom, bye.
Merry Christmas, pals! Welcome to Moments with Melanie. I have a special original Christmas song today. People laugh and smile as they sit around the fire. Children dream about their heart's desire. Wreaths are hanging on every door you see. I like this song to reach the North Pole because I have a question for Santa Claus. I need to know the answer right now. Is there no Christmas for the llamas? Do the llamas not get Christmas? Is there no Christmas for the llamas? Oh, the llamas, they want Christmas. No one notices our furry long-necked friends when the turkey is passed and festivities begin. They wait alone in the cold, no Christmas cheer do they behold. They stand alone in fields and cry, oh Santa, tell us why. Is there no Christmas for the llamas? Do the llamas not get Christmas? Is there no Christmas for the llamas? Do the llamas not get Christmas this year? Merry Christmas from me and my producer. Oh.
I think it's going to be a very strange Christmas this pandemic year. I mean, what are families supposed to do? Can we get together? Do we have to just rely on memories of past Christmases? I do love memories of Christmas. I mean, don't you get nostalgic when you think about holiday meals, recipes that your mother or your grandmother made? Or maybe the memory of the smell of fresh cut pine or cookies baking in the oven. Or maybe you have a favorite decoration that just brings memories flooding back as soon as you take it out of the box. For me, my memories are all about the booze. I come from a family of drinkers, and we celebrate alcohol holidays. And Christmas time, with the chill in the air and the closeness of family and all that emotion, well, it's just the perfect season for drinking. I don't actually remember my very first Christmas drink, but I do have a photo of it. It's Christmas of 1961. I'm 15 months old. I'm sitting on the floor in my mother's kitchen in my little footy pajamas, just swilling beer out of the bottle. Schlitz, as I recall. I just think that's a photo any parent would treasure, right? Who doesn't have the photo of the first time the baby killed brain cells? I do remember my first taste of whiskey, though. It was Christmas at my grandma and grandpa's house, and my Aunt Nora, champion drinker, was making whiskey sours. After she made a few, she started forgetting where she left them, and I followed her around. When I found one, I drank it. I was only 9 years old, but I swear from that very first sip, I loved the taste of whiskey. My mother's side of the family is populated with big, loud, raucous, fun alcoholics, which was very distressing to my father. His side of the family is very quiet, shy, reserved alcoholics. My father was a real alcoholic, which is to say he went to meetings. Several years prior, my mother had decided she had it with my dad's drunken shenanigans, and she left him. She packed me up. We went to live with her Aunt Peg. The Christmas that we spent at Aunt Peg's, we had brandied eggnog with ground nutmeg on top. Truly, there is nothing more delicious than brandied eggnog with nutmeg on top. It tastes like happiness. But apparently my dad got the message because he decided to forego the brandied eggnog that year, and every year thereafter, he got on the bus to downtown Pittsburgh and went to his very first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. And over the years, little by little, he started taking other members of the family with him. I think of my family in two factions, the ones who are in AA and the ones who are not in AA yet. I am not in AA yet, and I never want to be, because I love booze, whiskey specifically, love it. I do temper my drinking. I monitor it not out of temperance, really, but out of fear, because if I drink too much, I will become one of the ones who's in AA, and then I won't be able to drink anymore. So I have to be very careful not to become a full-blown alcoholic so that I can continue to be a borderline alcoholic. My grandfather and his brothers were not borderline. They were world-class alcoholics. If boozing were a sport, they would have been on the Olympic team. My grandfather worked on the railroad, and his job was to couple and uncouple freight cars when they came into the station, which is a really dangerous job. But I was never worried about him because he had superhuman strength. At least it seemed that way to me. To this day, my grandpa was the toughest man I've ever met. His brother Billy was a police officer. He was long and lean and blonde, and he wore a blue uniform and a little cap, and he drove a big black and white City of Pittsburgh PD cruiser. Sometimes he would drop by my grandma and grandpa's house in his black and white to have a beer, which, looking back on it now, seems kind of wrong. Uncle Johnny was tall, dark, and handsome, and he had a neatly trimmed mustache like Clark Gable. He played the guitar, and he sang. He was a lifelong bachelor, but he always had a girlfriend. He just seemed like a movie star. The three of them were just totally mythical to me: a superhero, a crime fighter, and a movie star. Every year, the three brothers would get together to do a Christmas project. And the year I turned 11, they decided that they would paper the walls in my grandmother's living room. My mother and I took the bus down to my grandma's house to help them, but they really didn't need any help. They actually did a really good job. But when they got to the fourth corner of the room, they ran out of wallpaper. And by that time, the stores were all closed, so it was a problem. Well, they decided to have a few drinks and discuss it, and ultimately they decided that what they would do is just put the Christmas tree in that corner. And a bottle of Canadian Club later, the tree was up and decorated, and you could hardly even tell where the wallpaper ran out. It worked really well. The weather that night in Pittsburgh was terrible. It was snow and sleet and freezing rain. So Uncle Johnny insisted that he give my mother and me a ride home, and Uncle Billy came along for the ride. It was maybe not the very, very best of ideas, because they had been decorating and wallpapering and Canadian clubbing all day long. I remember that night riding in the back seat of my Uncle Johnny's 1948 Buick Roadster. It is frozen in my mind like a tableau. The snow falling outside, the green glow from the dashboard of that car, the tires fishtailing on the ice-slick streets. It was terrifying. And then Uncle Johnny started to sing. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. Uncle Billy was apparently so moved by his singing that he started to cry. I looked over at my mother, who had taken the rosary beads out of her purse, and saw her cross herself and kiss the crucifix, and we both just prayed. We lived, which is more than I can say for Uncle Johnny. Well, actually, the two brothers did make it home safely that night somehow. But the following Christmas was not that kind. On Christmas Eve that following year, Uncle Johnny was playing cards at a buddy's house, and of course they were drinking. Uncle Johnny went down to the cellar to get another bottle, and he must have slipped on the stairs. Well, the guys just dealt him out and kept playing. By the time somebody thought to go check on Johnny, he had bled to death on the basement floor. They found him dead at the bottom of the stairs with a gash in his head, lying in a puddle of blood. Uncle Johnny wasn't the only one to die. My Aunt Nora's husband and my cousin Jack both died of cirrhosis of the liver while they were still very young men. My father, when he died at age 52 of massive organ failure, credited his poor health to his years of alcohol abuse. At my dad's funeral, his little brother collapsed in the church pew during the Mass. And 1 month later, we were back in that same church for the little brother's funeral. Some years later, my cousin Jeffrey, who was my buddy, my Jeffrey, he went into his bedroom on a Saturday night and drank enough vodka that he woke up dead on Sunday morning. He just literally drank himself to death. He was 35. So that is another gift that Christmas brings me each year. Sadness. Every Christmas I am reminded of what I have lost. I remember the Christmas that Uncle Bobby made Manhattans. Well, I guess if I'm 100% honest, I don't really remember that Christmas all that well, but it did instill in me a lifelong love of bourbon and sweet vermouth. Bourbon makes every day feel like Christmas. Okay, that's it. I gotta go. I need a drink.
And then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? And then all the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you go down in history. Okay, that song speaks for itself, and now I'm going to play a very slow and reverent instrumental version of Silent Night.
Happy holidays! My name is Alan Petker, and I am the conductor of the Santa Clarita Master Chorale. We are delighted to be a part of 10 by 10 this season, and will share 3 clips from our performance archives. The first is an excerpt from my own Te Deum to Music. It is a joyful anthem of praise in the style of Handel, but dressed in 21st century harmonic attire. The second and third clips are from Handel's Messiah, and also feature the beautiful dancers from the Santa Clarita Ballet Company. Enjoy.
and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Almighty God, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Unto us a child is born. Unto us a child is born. Unto us a son is given. And the government shall be upon his shoulder. And the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the mighty God, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Unto us a child is born. 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 Unto us a son is given. Unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. The government shall be upon his shoulder. And the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the mighty God, the everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Unto us a child is born. Unto us a child is born. Unto us a son is given. Unto us a son is given. Unto us a son is given. And the government shall be upon his shoulder. And the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the mighty God, the everlasting Father, the Prince